I'm Brianna. The sunlight filters through the leaves of the vines, casting a dappled pattern on the ground. I stand in my vineyard, the place I've poured my heart and soul into, and I'm finally at peace. But it wasn't always this way. A week ago, I was in my private tasting room, looking over a new label design, when the door slammed open. It was my mother, Carol. Gone was the poised and composed woman I knew. Her hair was in disarray, her eyes wild and red, mascara streaked down her cheeks. She rushed towards me, gasping, "Brianna, thank God. You have to stop this. You have to do something." I remained still, watching her as she shrieked, "They're taking everything. The bank is foreclosing on the estate. They're talking about criminal fraud, forgery. Your father, Robert, could go to prison. And your sister, Lily, is a mess. You've ruined us after all we've given you. You have to call them and tell them it's a mistake." I slowly reached for a bottle on the table, a heavy, unlabeled dark glass bottle. I poured a deep, almost black red wine into a glass and held it up to the light. "Do you see this wine, Mother? It's our new reserve, the Ash Soil Reserve. It's from a special plot of land. The grapes are extraordinary, grown on that worthless ash heap that Father stole from my grandmother. The one I bought back." Her face paled as the realization hit her. I walked to my desk, picked up a document detailing the forgery, and held it out to her. "You said I had to do something. I already did." She stared at the paper, her hand trembling, but refused to take it. I turned and walked away, closing the door firmly behind me. It all started on a cold night in the cellar. It was 11:51 p.m. And I was checking the temperature gauges on the stainless steel tanks. My hands were stained purple from the day's work. My phone buzzed on the metal table. It was a group text from my mother. The message was short. "Brianna, your father, Lily, and I have agreed. You don't need to come to Lily's engagement dinner. In fact, you're no longer part of this family." A few seconds later, a heart icon appeared next to the message. Lily had liked it. I was angry, but this time it was a cold, clear anger. I walked to my office and opened my laptop. I found the spreadsheet titled Heritage Support. In less than 10 minutes, I canceled all the payments that had been keeping their false family image intact. The $85,000 for my father's estate property tax, the $5,000 monthly transfer for Lily's so-called startup, and the $1,200 membership fee for my father's wine club. I'd been the family's silent investor. My family only valued success as they defined it. Lily, with her finance job, was a success in their eyes. My father, Robert, obsessed with his legacy estate, was also a success. I, on the other hand, had walked away from a prestigious business degree to run my vineyard, Windcrest Vineyard. They dismissed it as a mere hobby, but it had cleared 7 figures in profit last year. The wine they served at their parties was often mine, sourced through third-party labels. 6 months ago, I'd paid the $85,000 property tax bill to save my father's estate from foreclosure. I'd also wired $5,000 a month to Lily for 6 months, a total of $30,000, so she could maintain the illusion of success. I'd fallen into the conditional acceptance trap, thinking that if I supported their precious legacy, they'd finally respect me. But that night, I realized my compassion had been overdrawn. The next morning, my phone was filled with missed calls and texts from my family. Lily's text was full of entitlement, complaining that I'd locked her card. My mother's voicemail was full of blame, and my father's public post on Facebook was a display of hypocrisy. They were shocked that I'd stopped playing their game, not that they'd hurt me. I decided to take action. I called my corporate lawyer, Tom. I asked him to draft a formal debt collection notice for the $85,000 for the estate property tax and the $30,000 loan to Lily, Co., signed by Carol. I wanted them to have 30 days to establish a repayment plan, or else he'd place a lien on the estate. 2 hours later, Tom called back, sounding stunned. He'd found that the land where my vineyard was located had been fraudulently transferred by my father 5 years ago. It was part of a trust left by my grandmother, and the trustee's signature on the transfer document was a forgery, looking very much like my father's handwriting. The legal battle was swift. The estate was sold at a public auction to pay off the debts. I was the only bidder, not to save it but to liquidate it. I sold every piece of the estate, keeping only my grandmother's old greenhouse. The next morning, as the sun rose over the vineyard, I deleted the heritage support spreadsheet. That night, I slept through until morning, free from guilt and noise, just in peaceful silence. True revenge isn't about destruction. It's about building something beautiful from the ashes they left behind.